All right, guys, how's it going? It's Jewel Tolentino here, and today we've got another Merch by Amazon interview, and I'm continuing on with the theme. So it's going to be Q4 strategies, and what are we doing and what the other person is doing. So today I'm going to be interviewing Dave Espino, and we met him back in the summer when we were at the Udemy Live conference. And he's also doing merch, and he's going to be sharing his strategies. But before we get into that, I just want to take a quick side note, and I just want to thank you guys for being here. And I want to send some positive vibes into the world right now because there's some craziness happening this morning and last night. And I just wanted to thank you guys again for being here right now in this moment. And I'll pass it over to you, Dave. First of all, how did you find merch? And let us know a bit about you.
Well, I found merch through my e-commerce experience. I've been an e-commerce seller since 1999. And I was in one of the forums and somebody posted something about Merch by Amazon. I'm like, oh, what is that? I'm always curious and I'm always looking at new things, especially if it has to do with Amazon. So I went on there, I checked it out. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I didn't really grasp the full, the magnitude of what this opportunity was when I first saw it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And I just kind of looked at it and I thought, there's a lot of potential here with all the benefits that merch has. So that's how I first got introduced to merch, and I applied right away. And at that time, you were just automatically approved. You could just get in, and there was no waiting period or anything like that. And I got started. I mean, I don't know anything about designing T-shirts. I've learned a little since then, but I'm not a designer by any means. So
That's cool.
I just got started. Sometimes it's good to just jump in and move forward and then learn as you go.
Yeah, that's kind of like the same thing with us. I'm always curious when Amazon releases something because they're, they do some cool stuff. So when I heard Merch by Amazon t-shirts, I don't know nothing about t-shirts. I'm not a t-shirt designer, but I was in the e-commerce world like you were with Amazon FBA, eBay. Yeah, I don't know if you did Craigslist as well.
Yep.
But that whole selling world. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can get the hang of this. But yeah, that's pretty much my same thought process when I found merch as well. So first thing that I always ask is, what tier are you on? And, approximately how much are you making?
I'm at the 500 tier right now. And I don't know why I haven't been tiered up because I've definitely made enough sales. I think I've made like 980 some sales. So I should have been tiered up a while ago, but, and I'm making about 600 a month. Not a huge amount. I see other people making a lot more on merch. It's a very much a side hustle. It's just something I do on the side because my main business is teaching online courses. I have like 50 courses that I've published online, and that keeps me busy. So I wish I could devote more time to my merch business. I really do, because I see the huge potential and I see how it could be a huge, much better income stream. So now what I'm doing is I'm starting to outsource a lot of that work to my designer. My designer was actually my web designer at first. At one point I had 30 websites selling a variety of digital products, and he was building sites for me and he was building sites for my clients. And then we kind of fell away from websites, and but I didn't know really what to do with them, and I didn't want to let them go. I'm kind of, in effect, I'm kind of what's the word? Supporting his family. He's in the Philippines, and I didn't want to let him go. He's a great guy. We've developed a great relationship over time. So when merch came along, I'm like, oh, hey, I can see if he'll do T-shirts. And so I turned my web designer into my T-shirt designer.
That's cool.
So now he does that, and then he also is now researching designs for me and design ideas and things that we can put out there. So that's helping a lot with time.
Awesome. So is he the only person on your team? It's you and your designer?
Yep, he's the only one.
Cool. And I'm just curious, why did you stop building websites?
Well, it was what happened was a lot of changes happened with Google and the way they rank websites. And a lot of our websites were ranked really high for particular keyword phrases. A lot of these websites were in the pet niche, you know, with pet dogs, cats, stuff like that. And so a lot of these sites were selling, each site was selling one ebook. And those sites, there was a big algorithm change with Google, and Google decided to de-rank sites that didn't have a lot of content on them. And that's what these sites were. So these sites were just there to sell an ebook, and they were ranked high and they were doing really well. And then Google made a change and they just de-ranked a lot of sites. And so it's like, okay, maybe that's not the business model, you know, to go after, because Google changes so many times. They change their algorithms so often. And so that's when what I did is I sold all those websites and made some money on it, and then just moved on, you know, to my next thing. And I think that's right about the time when I discovered Udemy, and I discovered I could teach, you know, online, and I could put courses out there, and those courses could pay me an ongoing passive income. So I got super excited about that, because that's all I've been doing, you know, since I got online, is teaching, doing stuff like that. So
yeah, that's actually how I first heard about you. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, no worries.
But yeah, that's how I first heard about you, was through Udemy, like through the posts, and people were always posting about you, and you're just a powerhouse on Udemy. And
Thank you.
when I just know that whatever you work on, you excel at. So when I heard you were doing merch, I wanted to have you on the show, because I know that you're going to grow it, because you have so many courses on so many other things that you excel at. So thank you for being on the show. All right, so Q4 strategies. Do you have a strategy? What are you doing? Please share it with the people.
Really, for me, the only strategy at my level is to try to get tiered up. There's not much you can do about that. You have to just kind of hope that Amazon notices, okay, this guy's got, you know, quality stuff, and it's time to tier him up. And the other thing is just fill all the slots, which is a little weird, because just recently my slots, you know how they start to remove those shirts that didn't sell. They just recently knocked a big chunk, about I think 40 or 50 designs off of my list, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta, it's like
falling off the ladder.
Yeah, it's like going up a sand dune. You know, you're stepping up, you're sliding down, you're stepping up. So now what I've got is I'm just working to fill those slots as quickly as possible. See, because I'm so part-time, I don't get involved in these trending designs or these scaled designs, like Michael Essany talks about this scaled design concept, which I love. I just don't have the time, you know, like maybe I should hire somebody to research this stuff for me, you know, and actually maybe we're developing a business plan right here as we're talking, you know, because sometimes you have to just kind of put your eye on the problem and think about it for a while and see, okay, what can I do about this? Can I hire somebody like a VA or part-timer or something to do this, because it's going to be worth it in the long run to get it up to a six-figure income, you know? So for me, it's strictly just fill the slots as quickly as possible. Be very proactive about doing that every day. And for me, what ends up happening is sometime around 11 p.m., I'm out there going,
you're doing
adding those slots, because I got like the whole day, and it's almost like a relaxing thing where I get to go and upload my merch shirts, you know, for the day. But the thing is just to be very focused on it and make sure that you fill your slots every day. Other than that, I mean, you can do things like run ads to certain t-shirts. And there are a variety of courses out there. In fact, I'm going to be working on a course about running paid ads to Amazon t-shirts. And these are Amazon ads, not Facebook or any of that stuff. And I have been experimenting with running ads on Amazon marketing services, and I'm getting some good results. But I'm going to be interviewing a guy who's really an expert at it, and we're going to create a course about that so that we all get better results. I don't know if it'll be ready in time for fourth quarter, but it'll definitely be ready in time for the beginning of the year for people to start ramping up. And that's the thing about merch, is you got to get some initial traction, some initial sales, you know, into your shirts so that the ranking goes up. So I would say for people that are in the early tiers, like the 10 tier or the 25 tier, whatnot, whatever you can to get to the higher tiers as soon as possible right now, because fourth quarter is big and you want to have as many slots available to you as possible. And that's about really, this might be a short interview, Jewel, but it's about my only, advice that I would give for fourth quarter is just fill those slots. Maybe, if you know of shirt designs that just haven't sold, or you look at the shirt design and you go, man, that's really ugly. I mean, nobody would buy that. Maybe consider switching them out, to better designs or something. It is a good time right now to do Halloween t-shirts. I know last year Halloween was a big seller, for a lot of people. So it is a good time to do that and jump on that bandwagon. And I also know that Thanksgiving shirts don't do very well. So, maybe don't waste your time on Thanksgiving shirts, but Halloween shirts is a good time. It is definitely a good time to be uploading those right now.
So when you do you think of the designs, or is it your designer who thinks of it, and who's doing the titling and bullet points?
Well, nowadays my designer does it because I just didn't have the time. And then I do the titling and the bullet points. And I run a pretty similar format in everything that I do with the titling and the bullet points. But the keywords, I think a lot of people overthink keywords. For me, I just type in the 3 or 4 or 5 keywords that somebody might use, to find that shirt. And that's it. I mean, I don't overdo it on researching keywords. Now, I can't tell you that that's the right way to do it. Okay, so I'm not saying take that as advice. I'm just saying that's what I do. So, and there may be people that do much better and have more keywords in their designs, but that's what I do because, like I said, I'm kind of pressed for time. So,
do you use any softwares to get the titling or bullet points, or it's just off the top of your head?
No, just off the top of my head. Yeah, because I don't think there's two schools of thought when it comes to search in general, not just Amazon. One school of thought is give the search engine just the few keywords that it needs to know what that topic is all about. And then another school of thought is give it a bunch of keywords so that you hopefully rank for all these keywords. And I don't know how Amazon works specifically, but I think that there is a lot to using a smaller universe of keywords that are tightly themed and tightly related, because that way you can get the most result from that one main keyword phrase and maybe the 2 or 3 below it, so that you get the maximum result from the main keyword phrase you want to get. Whereas if you go for the long tail keywords and you go for a bunch of different keywords all at one time, you may not rank for any one of them because it's all diluted. So those are 2 schools of thought when it comes to search engines in general. That applies to YouTube search engine, Google search engine, and probably applies to the Amazon search engine too.
Interesting. How long did it take you to get to the 500 tier with your method?
Ooh, God, I don't know. I haven't really tracked. It feels like it's been a year since maybe 8 or 9 months since I got tiered up. Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to it. I just knew I got tiered up. It was like, okay, more slots to fill. And I didn't really because I've been doing merch since November, September, October of 2015?
2015?
I don't know.
Like when it first started?
Yeah, it would have to be right after that. Maybe December,
I think
January.
they started in 2015.
Yeah, they started in 2015, like around August, something like that. So anyway, it was a few months after it started. I got started in merch, and just like I said, been playing around with it and just uploading. So maybe it's been about a year since I got tiered up. I hate to sound so vague, but I just don't know.
No, it's all right. I mean, everyone has different strategies, and that's the cool thing is that there's some people who are really into the data and they just go all in and they're very scientific and they're doing well. And then there's other people like you and Daniel who are interviewed last week who are more vague and more casual and more laid back, who are also doing well. So it's like really what works for you. I'm kind of in the middle. We're also like, there's a team of 3 of us, Auret and my other business partner Maria, and we're part-time. We meet 1 to 2 times a week right now. We're trying to meet twice a week because of Q4, and good. We take like a laid-back approach where we don't want things to be so difficult and confusing and hard, because we also have fun with this. Right. So we're pretty casual in thinking of ideas, because we kind of just see things on TV in walking around, or something will just pop up that's funny while we're talking, and then we'll like create a shirt on that. But then there's also a little bit of the side where we do use the software Merch Informer to grab keywords. But for the longest time, up until we got to the 1000 tier, we did not use any software or anything. It was just like going to Amazon.com, typing in some keywords and grabbing, kind of like, because me and Auret have done eBay and Amazon before, you kind of know what the customer is, the general public is going to be looking for, and typing in, you kind of get that experience when you sell online. So that was kind of the approach that we were doing at first. You mentioned Michael Essex scaling method. What was that?
Michael Essany. They often get confused all the time because they both have similar names. By scaling, what he means is that, and I never quite understood the word scaling, but what he means is basically like, if you have, I love firefighters, and then you have another shirt, I love, police officers or whatever. So you're using one idea as the template for multiple variations of that idea. That's scaling. So I like more like talking about it as a template. You have a template. This is a good idea, and now I'm going to create variations on that one theme.
Yeah, so like making it easy to switch elements.
Yeah, and it's really good. I think it's really useful when you get into the higher tiers and you have to fill a lot of slots. And I know that's what Daniel Caudill does. He does a lot of those types of scaling designs, because it's just so much easier to tell your designer, okay, here's the theme. Now just add this to the end of it, or whatever. Make it this variation, and give them a list of variations. So that's good. There's also kind of a risk there, though, that if your initial template doesn't sell, then your whole list of variations may not sell very well either. But I would imagine that if I'm at the tier where you have to upload 100 a day, I'm going to be relying heavily on those.
Yeah, you can handle.
I'm going to be doing a lot of those.
Yeah, that's kind of what's happening with us as well. We have 2 accounts, one at the 1000 tier and one at the 500 tier. And when you get to the higher amounts, you're just kind of like, any idea? Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Pop it up there. Yeah. Because it's a little dangerous doing that too, because you want to always be careful with trademark and copywriting. You want to make sure you're not, emulating too closely with other people's ideas. So if I could say anything about my merch account, and probably the reason it doesn't do as big as it could, is that I am super, super like safe with my designs, with my ideas. I mean, a lot of them are just very evergreen and they're just a lot of funny, funny topics and stuff like that. So I'm just really, really playing it super safe. Not partly on purpose, because being in the e-commerce world since 1999, I've seen how these companies don't give a crap about the seller. I mean, I'll just say it the way it is. They just don't care. Mm-hmm. They're too busy running a multi-million-dollar business to care about any one individual seller. Like you could have the greatest case and you could be innocent of whatever they're saying that you did, and they'll just shut you down and talk about it later if they do. So when we're in a business where you're working as a third-party seller under a big platform, you just want to always be careful. You just want to be safe. And Amazon is notorious for suspending accounts at the drop of a hat. So I could say part of my strategy is I'm playing it super safe, like probably more safe than most people. And part of my strategy is I just don't have a lot of time for merch to give it the time that I believe it deserves. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a 6-figure passive income opportunity, and so for me to kind of say I don't have time for that, it kind of hurts, because I'm doing fantastic with my online courses and all that stuff, and I'm kind of torn. Like I want to be able to do both well. So anyway, that's just where I'm at.
So are you with that weighing on your mind, are you pushing yourself to allocate more time to it, at least during the Q4 season?
Yeah, I think the main thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to hire somebody, or maybe pay my designer a little bit more money to do more of the business for me. Because like if you could see well, not my schedule, but if you saw what the last, actually since we got back from Udemy Live, if you saw those months, I mean, it has been nonstop for me. It's just been so busy with, and so I got to allocate it to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely know what you're talking about. When you are creating videos, we have this YouTube channel and we put up videos 4 to 5 times a week. And then we want to create courses, and we have to make sure that these tutorials are relevant and fresh. And just when you're creating video courses, it's crazy. There's lots that goes into it, not just the filming, but the editing, setup, like the whole thing. So I definitely know what you're talking about when you say you don't have time and you have all these courses. And I'm sure you get tons of questions from people. And like you have I don't know, 40-something courses on Udemy. I can't imagine how many questions you get per day.
Well, fortunately, if you do your Udemy business right, you won't get a lot of questions. If you answer every question possible in the course itself, then you don't get a lot of questions. I don't myself. I know a lot of instructors that do, but that's just a little tip. When I create a course, I make a list of every possible question somebody might have about that topic, and then I just start filling in the blanks with my video lectures about each of those questions. I put them in order. So by the end of that course, man, somebody feels like, wow, I don't have any questions. That's my goal, is for somebody to leave that course and go, man, that was covered so well. Every single nook and cranny that I might have had a doubt in my mind was covered so well. I don't have any questions. And then occasionally you'll get a question, and then somebody you'll say, hey, how do you do this? And I'll say, oh, that's in lecture number 4. Go check it out. That way you don't have to waste a lot of time with questions either. But anyway, that's a Udemy tip.
Yeah, we're going into Udemy right now. But if you guys have any questions right now, put them in the live comment section below. Auret will pass those questions on to me. So where do you get your design ideas? Or is it or where does your designer get them? He's just doing random research online, or does he go to specific?
I gave him. I can say some of it. Some of this stuff is in our advanced course that I did with Daniel Caudill. So you interviewed him last week?
No, I interviewed another person named Daniel. He's
Daniel.
from Toronto. Yeah, he's a designer. He's at the 2000 tier right now.
Oh, okay. So Daniel Caudill and I, we created the advanced merch course, and that course outlines his particular method, of coming up with design ideas. And so I basically, because I'm co-instructor with him on that course, I shared that with my designer so that he could use that method. But I find that, just a really good general method is to go to Pinterest and just see what's hot right there. What's getting a lot of repins, what kind of t-shirt ideas, or what kind of just funny sayings that people have. That's just a good general, way for those in the audience that want to, learn a good way to do it. And then I like the scaling idea where you come up with an idea, and what Michael does, and this is a good reason to tune into our Facebook group, the Merch by Amazon Success Facebook group, is because he always posts his stuff first in our group as well. And he gives just these incredible detailed, he goes below the level 2 or 3 levels to find niches where people are going to buy t-shirts. You would call them underserved niches, where people may be looking for shirts, but there's nothing there for them. So he goes subset, and finds kind of like the gold mine, by doing that. And his way of thinking is just really fascinating. with the way that he comes up with scale designs. He'd be a good person for you guys to interview, by the way, if you haven't.
Cool. Sorry, what was his name again?
Is Michael Essany.
Essany, okay.
Essany.
Okay, and you mentioned a Facebook group, a link. Where can people get to that?
Yes, it's Merch by Amazon Success.
Okay, and that is the Facebook
so just look for that on just look for that on Facebook, and we're right there.
Cool.
We're really fast growing group among the merch groups. I'm pretty excited. We just hit 5,000 about a month ago, and we're just going like this. And part of that is our YouTube strategy. This is more for you, Jewel and Auret, is, we did a lot of YouTube videos about Merch by Amazon early on. I interviewed Daniel a bunch of times. I interviewed a lot of people, and then we put a link to the Facebook group as well as to our opt-in, and we're getting a lot of members that way to the Facebook group. So, and when it comes to marketing, the bigger your audience you can build that you can communicate with, the better, right? And that's the whole goal. So that's what we're doing there.
Awesome, cool. I think I'm part of that group, and we'll put that link in the description below after this interview.
Cool, appreciate it.
Cool. All right, so let's see here if we have any questions. Okay. What would you say to the people at the 10 tier right now, going into Q4? Would you there's different strategies. Like, I know some people say price your shirts really low to get a bunch of sales, and then some people say buy yourself out. What is your take on the whole thing?
Well, I would do one of two things. The first thing I would do is find a local community organization that needs T-shirts. For example, my daughter and her husband, her husband's a youth pastor, and they knew that I did T-shirts. This was early on. And I think this actually helped me to tear up. Yeah, I think it did help me to tear up from 25 to 100. But anyway, they knew I did T-shirts, and they needed a T-shirt for an event. So they needed something like 25 shirts made. So I just put them at a penny over the cost, and I uploaded the design, and they bought however many they needed. I think it was like 25 shirts, and that helped right away. That's one of the quickest ways, in my opinion, to do that. So find a local band, a local business, a local church, a local nonprofit organization. Contact them and say, hey, look, I can get you shirts at cost. The way this is going to help me is it's just going to help me to get a better ranking with Amazon, but you can buy the shirts on Amazon, and I think it's $11.54, right? Something like that is the base cost. So the shirts are only at $11.54. Your members can get them shipped directly to them, free, prime shipping, blah, blah, blah. Just find a local organization, and you can get shirts sold really, really quickly. And then, and if that fails, then just buy a bunch of shirts as gifts, because I can't emphasize how important fourth quarter is for those that are in those lower tiers. You don't want to wait. You want to make it an urgent situation where you make this move right now. You get tiered up as quick as possible, and you benefit from that fourth quarter kind of a gold rush that happens. Have you guys been in fourth quarter, Jewel?
We were
year?
we were sort of it was starting to get really exciting for us. So last Christmas we just got tiered to the 100 tier for both accounts. So we had 200, and I know about Q4 because of eBay and Amazon.
Right.
It's a big deal. So I said to the team, we need to upload as much as we can. But when we got tiered, it was in November. So and we didn't have our systems in place. So we only got up to 70 something designs at that time, but we were still making a couple $1,000 just off of those designs. And I remember after Q4 ended, I said, we need to prepare for next year. You need to start gathering now. So we've been preparing for a while now, and it is harder than it seems like it is for us because of when they take down a whole bunch of designs and then you got to put them back up and the numbers are just like, it's so high, and this is part-time for us. So it has been a little bit of a struggle, but we do know the importance of Q4. It only comes once a year. And these are like you said, it is a gold rush if you do it properly. So that's what, like, it's our main priority right now, is trying to get as many designs every day, uploading a certain amount. That's how we're preparing right now. And we are also doing the scaling, or the kind of like the theme duplicate method, where we try and think of chunks of, okay, can we get 5 to 10 shirts out of this one idea, and then move with that. Another thing I wanted to ask is, are you, when those when those shirts get taken down, are you re-uploading them?
I try to. Mostly what I've been doing though lately is uploading new stuff, because my designer's now on this system where he's creating new designs, all the time, and sending them to me in chunks. But what I'm going to do is just research which of the shirts have been taken down that are not live, and start putting those up again. I think it's an evolving platform. I think Merch by Amazon is evolving. And so it doesn't hurt to give those shirts another shot. If you believed in them originally, if you believed that they were good designs originally, then why not? And the other thing about merch is, we put sometimes our own opinion on shirts, and we're like, well, I would never buy this shirt. It's kind of hokey. And then somebody buys it off you, right? It's like, well, somebody bought this, hokey shirt. So don't put too much of an opinion on designs. Just put them up and let the market tell you if it's worthy. And I was surprised though. Yesterday, or in the last couple of days, I sold like 11 of one shirt, and I was like, whoa, okay, that got me excited again about merch, because to sell 11 of one shirt in my account is kind of unusual. I think for some people it would be more common, but for me it was kind of cool. So, but what's interesting, Jewel, about this interview is just doing the interview is helping me go, God, man, I could be doing so much better with merch. What am I, I'm like a loser over here with merch.
No, but, I mean, if this is helping, that's great. But I mean,
it is. It's giving me a kick in the butt, and sometimes I need that. I do. We all do, I think, as entrepreneurs. Because if you see something that's so awesome and so frankly easy, I mean, it's
that's
really
what I was just
an easy business, then why couldn't you just figure out how to pay somebody, $10 an hour to do what you need done, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to pay off in the long run. So,
like, in my opinion, it's too obvious. Like, this is too obvious not to do. Like, I always say this in every interview. Like, we used to do websites. We've been in MLMs. We've done physical manual labor. My first job was at McDonald's. Like, this is way easier than all of those things.
Yeah, and along that topic, I think it's important also to know, and for people to know out there, I want to encourage you, okay, because sometimes the merch business, they'll throw a change at you, right? Like the recent change with the quality, not using the words quality design. They'll throw a change at you, and it might like throw you off, psychologically, like, oh man, I'm trying at this, and then they do this, or I've got like 500 designs up, and then they take down 60 of them because they didn't sell. Oh man, it's like, but when compared to any other business, those are minor challenges. So, but I could see how if you're 100% into merch, how that would be like, man, that's such a bump. Like, how do I get through this? And just slog it out, just get through it, just do it. Because by doing it and continuing, and kind of like, it's almost like you've got a machete in your hand, you're slashing and burning through the forest, you will get the prize, you will get to success. But if you let, a bamboo thing stop you, you will not get to success. So I think the most important thing about maybe this interview is I want to encourage people, because there are discouraging things that are going to hit you in this business, if not, just in life in general. And just keep going for it, man. Just keep pushing through, because any business worthwhile like this business, is worth going through a few ups and downs, and it's worth getting through, like fighting through the forest, so to speak, to get to the gold. And this is one of the easiest business that exists. So, you know, if you think, well, oh no, I'm going to go do that other business because they don't have these issues, don't do that. Okay. This is the business that you want to pay attention to and you want to really go after, because it is super easy. They do just about everything for you. You know, all you have to do is upload designs and you're in, you're making money, and it's passive income, which is, you know, I could go off on another tangent with passive income. Is this is not, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. In a job where you're working, you know, trading hours for dollars or dollars for hours, that's 1 + 1 = 2. In a business like this, though, this is like 1 times, you know, 500, because every shirt that you design is put up on Amazon and now sells for you forever, right? So you're building a stream of income with each of these t-shirts, each of these designs. So don't think of it as, oh, I have 400 designs up. Think of it as, I have 400 streams of income that are coming in indefinitely. And the more of those streams I can put up, the more I'm securing my future, you know, for the long term. And so I want to just encourage you, this is not, because it's so easy for us to think about things in terms of dollars per hour or in terms of trading dollars for hours. This is different. This is trading hours for hundreds of dollars, you know, over the long run. So yeah, think of it that way. And I think, if anything, I just want to encourage people, you know, in this interview, because I know that business in general and entrepreneurship in general can be discouraging, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and you can make it. You just have to keep after it.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that you're saying. You can't expect anything that you're doing to just be totally easy and to not have problems. And if it, you know, I see a lot of people, they get like upset or discouraged. And I actually get comments from people saying like, I haven't sold anything in a month. This is crap. This is a waste of time.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's, you know, you're looking at it that way, but there's like thousands of people who are making a living off of this. And then, you know, there's your one method of thinking. And you have to look at, like, I when I was starting, I was discouraged. It was just me. I didn't have the team yet. I didn't tell people. I didn't tell Auret or Maria about this. It was just me doing it by myself. And I totally was discouraged because after a couple of months, there were no sales. And it took me hours to make one quote shirt. And it was frustrating. But I kept seeing all these people post about success. And I just kept seeing that every day because I was a part of these Facebook groups, and I would get the notifications, and then I'd go see these people selling here and there. And I was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. Like that was my thinking, you know. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm not special, so I can't do this, or you need to be special to do this. You don't. You can be totally new. Maria did not know what SEO was. Still doesn't know what it means, but she does it every day for our t-shirts, and our shirts sell. That's awesome. She had no business experience. She's a 911 operator. That's her full-time job. She works like graveyard shifts, long hours, and she does this on the side, and she's making a side income now. This is her like first business venture ever. Yeah. And so you don't need to have any experience. And another lady that I'm going to interview, her name is Dawn. She's from Saskatchewan. She's a mother, and also, again, she saw me talking about this, said, hey, I can do this too. And she's like on the same tier as me, and she had no experience, but she said she was going to learn it and she was going to figure it out, and she did. And this, compared to a lot of things, a lot of business things, is very easy. There's still going to be challenges, but in terms of the mechanics of things, laborious intensive things, this is quite light compared to a lot of things. Like both you and I have experience with doing lots of things online, and it's not going to get easier than this, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, it's harder to come up with an easier business than Merch by Amazon. This is really a super simple business model. And I think what makes it hard for people is, just like you said, don't compare yourself, you know. The minute you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you're losing the battle, because now you're going backwards mentally, right? part of this business is about how you manage your attitude and how you manage your, keep going forward and keep going after it and not let things like that, bog you down. And part of this business is your activity, the level of activity that you put into it. And so if you can keep both of those up and keep both of those going forward, you'll do well. And just remember that every business, even something as simple as merch, has its learning curve. Every business has its process where you're learning, you're growing, you're developing knowledge. So that's why I am excited about some of the courses that we've put out there, because they help people accelerate their learning curve very quickly. And so like the one with Daniel Caudill with Merch by Amazon, he's one of the first and one of the only people that I've heard of that made 6 figures his first year with merch.
Whoa.
Granted, things were a little different. There weren't as many tiers, and it was easier to upload as many shirts as you wanted in the early months that he was doing that. But that's not to take away from his incredible work ethic. The guy works like crazy. So, and then there's Mike Wall, who has a completely different approach to Merch by Amazon. He walks into businesses and he offers to do a t-shirt promotion for the business. And he collects a $250 setup fee for doing that. And so he uses his merch account to make $250 checks every day. So there's that course. And then there's one about trending merch where I show you how to get your merch shirts to the top of Google, ranking at the top of Google, which is a kind of a cool little trick I discovered on how to rank. I don't know if it works for other Amazon products. I've never done it for other Amazon products, but how it works for Merch by Amazon t-shirts. So there's what I'm excited about, because I'm a course creator, is all these different ways that people are using merch to make money, other than just the traditional upload a bunch of shirts. There's just interesting, different uniquenesses of ways that people are approaching merch and ways to make money with merch. And of course, the base one is always upload all your shirts and, do that, right? But then there's all these other ways. It's really cool too.
Yeah, that's really cool. The one that you mentioned about going to businesses and getting a setup fee. That's really cool.
Yeah, I really like it because you're bringing home money immediately, whether you sell shirts or not. The business is benefiting because they do something called Tshirt Tuesdays. And so basically, if you wear the business's t-shirt, like a pizza place, you wear the t-shirt, they'll give you a big discount or a free pizza or something, right? Something cool to encourage you to wear the t-shirt. And so the business owner is selling t-shirts and the business owner is making more money. They're getting a lot of promotion. One of the promotions that Mike did was for a salon, and they got like 60 new customers to their salon with a t-shirt promotion. So it was pretty amazing. And then one day he walked into a tire store, and that ended up being a 6-month process talking to the headquarters of this tire chain. And that generated a $235,000 check for him.
Wow.
That he made with t-shirts, because the tire company had t-shirts that they had to stock and inventory in each of their stores. They had like 800 stores across the United States. And one of their executives said, you know what, if we do this, we'll save $300,000 a year just on not having to deal with the t-shirt stuff. And that's when Mike said, okay, I knew I had a deal right there.
That's crazy. You like the stories and what you can really do.
It's amazing, because he took a different twist to merch. He, instead of using merch as its own thing, why not use merch as a lead generator to walk in and talk to a business owner, and then even then sell them some additional shirts, but come home with a setup fee. So he's using it in the offline world. The
t-shirt sales, are they under his account, or like the business creates their own account now and it's like theirs?
He does both. If they're in a hurry, he'll use his own merch account, and that allows him to tier up very quickly. I think he said in our course, I think he's at the 4,000 tier, because he's got all these businesses now under his account. Or he'll also set up an account for them, at the same time, and teach somebody how to do the merch thing. But for the most part now, with the way things have changed, now he does it that way, where he uses his own account to get them started right away.
That's so cool. Really cool.
It's fascinating. It's a fascinating way to make money, man, with merch. I mean, because he goes out in one day, he could come home with 3 or 4 checks of 250 each. You know, he could make $1,000 a day just doing that.
That's crazy. All right, we got a couple questions here. Okay, we got a comment here from Merch Studios. She just said, "Hi Dave, enjoy your and Michael S&E's tips in the Facebook group. Hoping to tier up to 4,000 soon for Q4." Whoa, crazy!
Nice.
That's awesome. I hope you tier up. And okay, with all your success of e-commerce income streams, what are your 5 overall tips for success?
In e-commerce in general?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I could actually boil it down to one.
Okay.
One simple tip, and it's a tip that most people ignore when they get into e-commerce, especially in eBay. I'm really well known for selling on eBay, and less so on Amazon. But the main thing is, man, get into the high demand products, whatever that may be. Now on eBay, for me, the high demand products were collectibles. And I got into eBay because of my hobby of collecting vintage Hot Wheels cars. As these little cars here. And this particular car was made in 1969, so it is really well preserved. I mean, it's still in its package and everything. And that was my hobby. I love cars in general, and I love little cars, and I love big cars. We talked about, at Udemy Live, we talked about the car collections to have. And for me, I was able to make that hobby into a business by selling vintage Hot Wheels cars on eBay. I had already figured out a way to buy collections of these cars from original owners. And then it was easy to sell 50 or 100 a week on eBay and make 10, 15,000 a month just selling collectibles. The cool thing about it is when you sell high demand products, and this is back to my strategy, you work less, you make more, your buyers pay you immediately. You know, they're not off like, you have to find the FBI to go find them, right? They pay you immediately. They can't wait to receive that package. They give you great feedback. So there's a lot of benefits to selling high demand products. Now, they don't have to be collectibles. They could just be things that you know or you research are in high demand and you figure out ways to get them, right? But for me, collectibles was the way to do it. And the benefits have been amazing. You know, all the issues and problems that eBay sellers had, like, oh, my buyers don't give me feedback, or my buyers don't pay, or, you know, they're not, you know, my profit margin is too small. I'm not making enough. I'm selling 100 items, but I'm barely making any money after fees. All these complaints can be solved if you just stick to high demand products. So I would encapsulate all 5 of those, whatever 5 tips you wanted from me, into that one, because that's worth everything in my opinion.
So that's how you've grown your e-commerce business online, is to sell high demand products.
Yep, mainly collectibles, just mainly collectibles. But there are a lot of other high demand products, like what they call dead tech is interesting. Like, you know, old flip cameras, you could find them still in the box, or old connectors, or old just old stuff. I don't have it here, but I got an old iPod, you know, and even old iPods are selling for good money because people use them as storage, as like a little storage device. But you know, in some of my courses, I teach what are some of these high demand products, so that people can just go look for those things and go and resell them. And there's just, if you stick to that, because that's the biggest mistake I see people make on eBay or on Amazon, is they just go, okay, great, I got this great way to sell a bunch of stuff. Let me go buy a bunch of stuff. And they don't think about what's the profit margin, what's the demand for it. If it's not in high demand, it's just going to sit on your virtual shelves, you know, for a long time, and you want turnover. So that would be my advice for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you. All right, we got another question from Dawn here. Maybe you could do a little follow-up here, Dawn, because I'm not really sure what you're talking about. She says, is that possible for Canada though? If so, I'd love to hear how you could make that work. And I'm not sure what she's talking about. So maybe Dawn, do a follow-up comment as to what you were asking, if it would work for Canada. And I agree with them.
Yes.
Sorry.
Chances
Yes.
the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, hopefully it is
Whatever it
yes
is.
for Canada. But yeah, with the whole eBay thing, I mean, that's how I got started. Well, started on Craigslist, and stuff I couldn't sell on Craigslist, I put on eBay, and then it led me into Amazon, and then Amazon. I did private labeling for a little bit, and then it led me to merch, and then here I am now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Did you ever do any private labeling?
No, never did. No, and the only Amazon selling I've ever done has been merchant fulfilled. Just never got into FBA. It was around, I think, the beginning of 2015 when I made the strategic decision to stop my e-commerce business and strictly go into online teaching. And I think that there's something important about that if you're an entrepreneur, you've got to be single-minded with your focus, and you don't want to spread yourself too thin across multiple businesses. And that's why when I look at my merch business, I'm a little disappointed, but I also am very certain about the business I really am in, which is online courses and online teaching, partnering sometimes with people who have the skills that I want to teach about and help with people with, and being very clear, that everything else is a side thing for me. Like even my eBay business in the last 2 months, I sold, I think it was 15 items. Okay. They were high dollar items, but it was $18,000 worth in the last 60 days. And that was just 15 items. So, and so that's something that doesn't take a lot of time, but it made me a good amount of money, right? With the online course business, we launched a product, a digital product, the one about how to sell digital products on Amazon. And that one did something like 13,000, actually 26, but split between two partners, right? In 2 weeks, in a 2-week period. So, knowing where your business is and where your focus is and staying in that lane is so important, because I've been in that situation where, oh yeah, I do this and I do this and I do this too. And you're not doing anything really very well. That's dangerous. So get into, and this is just general advice for everybody out there. Okay. I can sermonize really good sometimes. It's just general advice. Look, find your lane, find the thing that you are just passionate about, that you love, right? And stay in that lane. And that doesn't mean don't do anything else, but it means know what your lane is. And then these other things, you put them mentally in side hustle mode. Those are side hustles. This is my main thing. And I think that can go a long way to helping a lot of people, because it's easy to be tempted to think, oh, if I diversify, I'm going to be better off. That's true, but get one thing down first. Get one thing down to a science where you really lock it in and you're making fantastic income at it, and then start to build some of these other things over time.
Okay, thank you for the advice. And yeah, like this is what I would be saying to the people as well, is don't get too distracted. Grow that one thing first. Like that's like YouTube is our thing, and we've grown it, and we've like we're still growing it. I want 1 million subscribers, but that's like our thing. And then we have these other things that are like, we get it to a point where it's like it's not crazy hard to work it. Like you can just you still need to do work, but it's still making you money. And a lot of people are like new and they just want to start everything new. And I don't think that's a good idea to do. All right, so we got some clarification from Dawn. What she was talking about, like, does it work in Canada as well, is the selling to businesses, that whole initial setup that other person you were talking about?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, because they don't ship to Canada, right?
Yeah, so it might be a little harder, actually. That is a good question. Oh, that might be
So what I would do in that case, because we had a similar question come up, and somebody said, can I do this from the UK? And after I thought about it, I'm like, oh, wait, merch doesn't ship to the UK.
Right now.
Printful does, or Redbubble does. So you could take the same strategies that Mike teaches in our course, and instead of using merch to do what he does, use Redbubble or use one of these other print-on-demand t-shirt businesses to do the same thing.
Cool. Got some comments here. Merch Studio says it looks like we might be getting hoodies, sweatshirts, and long sleeve tees. Someone actually ordered a hoodie. That's
Really?
crazy. That's going to be really exciting when they start implementing other articles of clothing.
Yeah, see, that's going to get me off my butt.
when hoodies start coming in sweatshirts.
Well, because now you have the ability to multiply whatever you're making now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can multiply it, not necessarily 1-to-1 multiplication, but maybe 1 to 50% or 1 to 75%. So then it makes it so much easier to justify paying somebody to do, more of your business, to do that, because now you're taking the same, hopefully the same designs, hopefully the same format, same size and everything, and just uploading them to multiply your income. So that's huge. And we've been waiting for that for a long time. And who knows if it'll be here before fourth quarter. I kind of doubt it. I hate to sound negative, but I kind of doubt it, because I feel like Amazon they're still in their growing pains. They're still trying to manage the flow of the stuff they have coming in already. I kind of feel like it'll be at the beginning of the year, of 2018, when they announce this stuff, so that they have a whole year, because they have to prepare for fourth quarter too. They have a whole year to prepare for next year's fourth quarter with all these new lines, that they're coming out with. So I kind of like, strategically, if they were to announce it now, I'd be questioning, their management. Like, wait, are you guys sure you're ready for this? Because this is going to multiply the demand on their printers, on their suppliers, on everything. I'm just not quite sure they're there yet. I'm talking from an outsider perspective.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about their inner workings, but I'm just not sure they're there yet. So I think it'd make a great announcement for the beginning of the year.
Cool. Well, we'll see. I mean, well, I'm excited either way, whether they do it now or later on. What I would like is I don't want them to run out of any shirts and to halt anyone from uploading designs. If they could just be cool with that and not have those kinds of problems as last year, because there was a good chunk of time where no one could upload, and that kind of we couldn't really get to the 100. I remember that was one of the issues, and then
it killed momentum.
Yeah, no black shirts, and it's like, whoa, everyone wants black t-shirt. So I hope that they are really prepared this year.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. Okay, well, we are nearing the end. If we haven't answered any of your questions, still put them in the comment section below, and we'll answer them at a later time. Let's end it off here. Dave, thank you so much. Let people know where they can find you. I've got your YouTube channel link in the description, and I'll also put the Facebook group link, but where else can people find you, get a hold of you?
Well, I think probably the best resource they can have is our free merch resource guide. It's almost like a step-by-step of what to do as you're getting started with merch, but it also includes some good advanced strategies, and there's a bunch of video links in there to interviews that I've done with successful merch sellers like Daniel Caudill and Mike Wall and that. So that one you can find at freemerchguide.com.
Cool. And any last minute advice for the people?
I would say just stay after it. Just don't get discouraged. That's what the Facebook groups are for. Get into the Facebook groups, become a member there. If you need encouragement, get in there and ask for encouragement. Ask for whatever you need help with. I know I answer a lot of those questions personally if I can, and a lot of other people do. So I would say that. I would just say join the Merch by Amazon Success Group and stay encouraged, because this business is definitely worth it in the long haul. Every t-shirt you upload is a potential income stream, and the income stream keeps coming. I mean, it just keeps coming month after month after month. So whatever I did to set up, my initial merch business, it's like clockwork. Every month I get paid. And for as much or as little as I might do with the business, I keep getting paid. So understand that about passive income. It's a magical thing. And that's what I I'm striving now to do every business that I do. I'm kind of spoiled because it's hard for me to trade hours for dollars now. I want every business that I do to be a passive income business. So, and it's magical when you do that because it gives you so much security that you can just count on every month. And really, I think that's what a lot of people are looking for out there. You know, they're looking for something secure that's going to pay them month after month after month, without necessarily having to work for it every month. So, hang in there, keep after it. That's what I would recommend, and don't let the little obstacles, you know, get in your way and stop you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you for that advice. And you know, this past summer, I really felt the benefits of passive income, because this past summer was kind of like the first summers in a while, because me and Auret, we're workaholics. Like, I love to do work on my own business. It doesn't feel like work. It's like a part of me. It's a part of my life. I always want to be doing stuff and like creating, filming, editing. Like, that's how if I'm not doing that and I'm just like watching TV all day, I feel like crap. Like if I'm not doing something.
Yeah.
So, but this past summer kind of took a little bit of a different approach. We traveled all over the place, and we actually didn't even have time to do work because we were always traveling, attending conferences, doing these cool adventures. I wanted to do this really cool cave adventure here on the island. And like, it was just like 5 weeks of straight traveling, and I actually had to decide not to do YouTube videos for an entire week, and that is a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal for our channel because we upload Monday to Thursday and Friday videos every day, and we had to make the decision to be like, okay, we can't do this. Like, we're traveling too much. It's too crazy. So I didn't upload for an entire week. But everything was okay. You know, we were still, and same with Merch by Amazon. Maria was off traveling. We were off doing business conferences, and no one was working on merch for like an entire month. But yet we still got paid, you know, our monthly quota from all that work that we did previously. So that whole traveling and that whole month made me realize, like, wow, like, I knew that passive income was good, and we've been doing it for a while, but like, when you can really just take off and just do stuff, it really, really makes a difference. So that's why I always encourage people, like, you can succeed at merch. There's really no excuse for you to not. Like, it's that simple. Like, you can if you work at it and you learn it, and you don't need any experience. So that is,
you could say the only way that you'll fail at merch is if you quit. Right?
Yeah, that's
really the only way you'll fail at it.
Is if you don't do anything
too soon. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, like, there are people around us now here locally that are like, what is this merch thing? Because they've been seeing us doing it for a year, and we're like, yeah, we do, like, you know, 1,400 a month Canadian. And they're like, what? Selling t-shirts? And like, everyone wants to get in it now, and we're telling people about it. But yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you again, Dave. I will put those links in the description below, and we'll answer any other questions that we haven't. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.